All right, the Bucks. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane Musisinyane, on a Tuesday evening. I'm right at the heart of Johannesburg, and what I want to do today is I want to do a squad analysis, the Orlando Pirates squad, the current players that we have in our team. I think there's a lot of talk, which some of it is true in some sense, about that the squad of Pirates is very strong. And somewhat I see what people are talking about when they say that, what people are saying when they say that we've got the players to take on Sundowns. But I think the concern that I have with the players that we have currently is that if you look at the players, at the age of the players, there are people that can play for us for at least 2 years, maybe 3 years maximum. And I just think that's bad for the continuity of the club. I think it's not long-term planning. It's something that's short-term. It means that each and every season we have to keep building the squad. We need to keep signing players that are going to play. So, I mean, for example, if you look at the midfield of Orlando Pirates, we've got Ben Mutwari, who's in his 30s. We've got Tabang Munari, who's also in his 30s. We've got now Makehleni Makaula, who's also 34, if I'm not mistaken. We've got Tim, who's also 30. So if you look at that defensive midfield position, we've got players who can play 1 or 2 seasons, and we don't have a player who's maybe continuing, who's going to play in that position for the next 5 years or the next 4 years. I think that's very concerning because you go all around the pitch, that's the case. So go to left back, we've got Maela, who's also 31. Got Marco, who's 29, if not 30. You go to right back. I think right back is where at least we've got Thabiso Monyane, who I think is great for the continuity of the club. He's someone that can stake a claim and play in that Pirates team for years to come. So I think he needs to be involved more and more. Craig Martin, 31, 30. Centre back. Centre back, I guess this season is where we have at least livened up and spared the age of the team in some sense. But if you look at centre back as well, last season we had Nyauza, we had Tulani Hlatshwayo, and we had Happy Chele. And Thabiso Sesane is the one player that I thought at least if we can start to get him involved in and around the team, get him some minutes and things like that. So I think, by the way, he's someone that we need to bring back into the club. I think we've seen in that All-Stars game, but even before that, he's someone who's highly ranked. I think he's got a lot of potential. It's just now about bringing him back to the team and involving him and seeing how he will develop. But I think he's the way to go now instead of playing Tetwa. I think it would have been better if we could involve him and make him the 4th centre-back after Okinda and Spisi. And then you go to midfield. Well, midfield I already spoke about. You go to the left wing, Otto, 31, Pule, 31. Otto even maybe 32, actually. You go to right wing, Saleng, great. He's got age on his side. But Loch is also 30, if not 29, 30. And then you go to striker. We've got Kemet Erasmus, who's 32. You've got Ndumiso Mapena, who's about 32, 33 as well. Who else have you got? You've got... who else is in that position? I think... Who else plays in that position? I think if it's not Evidence Mahopa is at least in his 20s, but he's someone who's not playing. He's not involved. Chukamanja, 29, 30. So I think one of the things that is very concerning about, as much as we speak about Pirates having a squad to compete, is that we don't have a continuous squad. And maybe that's why we've got a one-off season where we'll perform like 2017, I think, under Coach Michu. 2017, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. We had a squad that was performing and doing well, but then you've got to build again. Next season, you've got to build again. You've got to build again. We don't have a core that is continuous in the club. I think that's one of the problems. So I really think that one of the things that we need to do going forward is bringing back, especially players like Boitumelo Radiopane. I think instead of signing the guy Marui, whom we recently acquired from Cameroon, who's now taken the space and the minutes that would have been used and utilized by Boitumelo Radiopane and done well for his development. I think we've went and we've signed players. We've signed players like Ndumiso Mapena, who's also taken those minutes away from him. You look at the midfield position, you've got guys like Azola Choveni who are out on loan, who have a lot of potential. You've got Rato Omo now in the development who can't get minutes because we've stockpiled in the squad. We've got a lot of players that are going to take a lot of minutes away from him. So what it does is it stunts the development of our academy players. Players can't get time. But even in our signings, I think we need to start being smart about our signings. I think the one signing that I've been very impressed with of late is the signing of Ndabayithetho Ndlondlo, who was 26, 27. I think also Ntsako Makhubela was a smart signing. He was in his mid-20s. So you know you've got him for the next 5 years, and then you can start the process again after 5 years, just like that. But the signing of players like Makehleni Makaula and Craig Martin, especially in positions where you feel like we've already got enough players who are around his age, it's one of those things where you start to wonder what's the plan, where are we going with the squad. And so I mean, I'm not completely against age, but I think once you start to have 4, 5, 6 players of that age, is that you already kill the continuity of the squad. You kill the development of the younger players. And so you've always got to do this process of signing. You've always got to find new players. They need to gel. And and I think that's one of the other things, besides the fact that our coaches are not making the best decisions a lot of the time. I think one of the other things that's killing us is that we don't have players playing together for years, because that's one of the other things that strengthens the squad, is that players play together for years. There's an understanding that comes naturally there that you can't buy with money. The combinations that you can build over time with playing together and building the core, getting the experience together, I think you can't buy that with money. And so I think that's one of the things that's opened the gap so much between ourselves and Sundowns. And I think that's where Sundowns kills us, and they're smart with that sort of thing. You look at players like Mkhulise, you look at Tebogo Mokoena, you look at Mbule. These are players who are going to play in that Sundowns midfield for years to come if they don't go overseas, because I think that's the natural next step for those kinds of players. So I think that's one of the things that we need to start considering big time. And you would think that being professionals that they are in the board of Orlando Pirates, those are the things that they would know. But maybe the culture and the philosophy of Pirates now is that it's just like Real Madrid, where you'll sign players. But even then, if that's our way of competing, we're just not making the marquee signings. We're not making those 20 million, 30 million rand signings to compete like that. So I really think that if we're not going to compete financially and buy the players, maybe we need to start thinking about developing our own. The ones that are already in the club, give them the minutes. Get them to develop around the club. And I mean, we've got some players that are out on loan now, which I'm not very optimistic that they're going to make their way back into the squad. The likes of Zakhele Lepasa. I think what I'm thinking now is that the next thing is he's going to get signed by SuperSport or whatever and develop over there. And then the next step for him is Sundowns. And then it's going to be a case of he once was a Pirates player, but now he's a Sundowns star man. Because you look at those kind of guys, they've got the potential, they've got the quality, but we just don't develop them. We don't give them the time. We go and sign players that we don't need, and then they take the minutes from those players. So yeah, I don't know what a lot of Buccaneers think, but I think that one of the things that we need to start doing in our club is to start investing in the youth, investing in giving them time on the field to help them develop on the field. All right, well, I'd like to hear what you think, so throw a comment in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, send a like. That helps us a lot with the algorithms and helps the channel get found by other people on YouTube. All right then, cheers. See you next time. Up the Bucks.